Please welcome Montgomery County Delegate Heather Mizeur and President Weller.
Hi, Heather. I want to thank you for coming to join us this morning. We're excited to have you here as a number of one of several possible candidates for governor in 2014, and we certainly appreciate your service as a delegate from Montgomery County. So we're going to ask you 3 questions, and you can respond however you like. First question. Tell us about how you see the future of Maryland and your vision for our state. Can you share with us your unique background, interests, and priorities for Maryland's future?
Thank you, Betty. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today and have this important conversation. My vision comes from my values. I spent time on the picket lines with my father, who was a union factory welder. And I learned on those picket lines the importance of solidarity, fairness, service to others, and having the courage of your convictions. I was also taught that community matters and that we can strengthen community by taking care of and lifting up each other's struggles as a common cause. Maryland is a community, and my vision for Maryland goes back to a place of belief that everything is better when we work together. That's how we're going to assure that Maryland continues to lead the country in federal health reform over the next decade. It's how we're going to grow a 21st century economy and continue to be the best in educating our children to manage it. It's how we're going to close the shameful developmental disabilities waiting list for services. It's how we're going to give an environment that is cleaner to our children's children, and how we take on crime, addiction, and poverty with renewed purpose and conviction to do better. I believe in a state where, and a vision of this state where we care about our neighbors, where we want for our neighbor the same thing that we want for ourselves, and that we lift each other up. Just because I have a nice house and a job with health care and food on the table does not release me from the obligation to be aware of and care about the fact that there are children that go hungry every night, families that are struggling to make the mortgage payments they might be behind on and are fear of losing their home to foreclosure, and way too many Marylanders that still don't have access to the health care they need to stay well. And it's important for us to remember that every single privilege that we have can be gone tomorrow. And I have a vision for Maryland where we govern as if we understand that. I was asked to tour Baltimore City schools, and I was incredibly concerned with the conditions that I saw there. There were toilets that didn't flush, bathroom stalls that didn't have doors, windows that were sealed shut or cracked open, too hot, too cold, depending on what the season was, undrinkable water fountains. Prisoners have better conditions in their facilities. This was a wake-up call and a call to action. And so my plan for rebuilding Maryland's aging schools brings together educators, government, nonprofit leaders, and the community to put together a 21st century plan for addressing the $15 billion backlog in school construction. And through innovation and collaboration, smarter thinking, working harder, we can give our educators and our students the tools that they need to succeed while revitalizing struggling communities for generations. This is how we take on big things and win, by recognizing that playing small does not serve the world. Through solidarity, fairness, commitment to service, and displaying the courage of our convictions, we can help Maryland fulfill her exciting, strong, and vibrant future.
Thank you. Question number 2. MSEA has never been a single-issue organization. We have an expansive legislative and social justice agenda which has overlapped at the state and local level with your work as an elected official. Can you share an example of an issue you have partnered with MSEA on or one of our local affiliates on in pursuit of a shared priority?
Wow, how do you pick just one? Let's talk about teacher pensions. As educators, you have earned the right to expect a secure retirement in exchange for all the sacrifices you have made for our children in the classroom. And our state's constitution mandates that we provide a great public education to our kids. The way we have a great public education is by having the best educators. And the only way we're going to be able to fulfill that mandate is to live up to our promise to you. I understand at a core level the bargain that educators have signed up for. You're never going to get rich as a public servant, but you expect and deserve to rely on a secure retirement. Promises made are promises kept. And I stood with you on the pension fight from start to finish. And I stand shoulder to shoulder with you on a range of issues. You should be in the classroom inspiring our kids to learn, not rushing to Annapolis to defend your retirement. You should be focused on student learning rather than standing in line for the copy machine. You should be working on your lesson plans rather than rushing to Staples to buy your own school supplies. You should be focused on creating great, creative, and critical thinkers and not just having to teach to the next test. And we should be looking to you for what is best in terms of teaching in the classroom, not some bureaucrat or politician in Annapolis.
Thank you. Last question. Typically, everyone has at least one educator who's made an outsized impact on their life. Who is that educator for you, and how did he or she shape how you think about education and who you are today?
Wow. It's hard to pick just one, of course. There were so many educators in my life that made a difference, from my elementary school principal, Jim Edwards, to Roy and Elsie Blyler that drove our school buses for 37 years, Barb Damery, my playground supervisor. But the educator that had the most dramatic influence on my life was my junior and senior high school English teacher, Mrs. Sandra Bugg. And Sandra expected a lot out of us, and therefore we expected a lot out of ourselves. She didn't just demand that we learn how to write and understand grammar. It's that we had to think creatively and critically and be able to express that. And she would always tell us that curiosity is the highest form of intelligence. Be curious. Be curious. Think outside the box. I always pretty much did that, but I didn't know how to harness it as a skill and apply it for good. She helped us do that. She was really, really challenging, and at times that made it difficult for her as an educator. She would, every few years, get hauled before the school board by a group of angry parents who were concerned that she was being too tough on the kids, that she pushed us too hard. And I get that it's incredibly difficult to constantly be juggling the expectations of every parent and every child in the classroom. But Mrs. Bugg instilled in us such a spirit of love for her teaching style that every time she got brought in front of the school board, we would self-organize as students to go defend her and speak passionately before the school board about the difference that she was making in our lives. Mrs. Bug had the freedom to set a curriculum and a course and set high expectations for her students. And I think about how difficult it is today for there to be Mrs. Bugs. Do you have the freedom to set that curriculum and allow your students to grow and learn in that environment? And my promise to you is that we do our best to have a Mrs. Bug in every single classroom. She always used to say, and I share with you in parting today, may all of your joys be great, and may all your tragedies be Greek.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you coming.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Best of luck. Thank
Thanks.
you.